I would like to start the show by paying my respects to the family of the recently late liberation struggle icon, Dr. Hage Geingob, who was the chief architect of the Namibian Constitution, the first Prime Minister and third President of the Republic. May his soul rest in eternal peace. In Namspective, we will delve into tributes to the late leader. But for now, let's get into our stories of the week. My name is Ashwin Bedi, and it's time for Second Take. All right, it's time for us to get into our top stories. President Macky Sall of Senegal has unveiled a masterstroke in the art of political manipulation by unilaterally postponing the looming presidential elections, just a breath away from their originally scheduled date of February the 25th. Under the otherwise thinly veiled guise of a dispute over the list of approved candidates, Sall has thrown the democratic rulebook out of the window, opting instead for a plotline more reminiscent of aspiring dictators eyeing an extended stay in power. In other words, it's giving Zimbabwe. Despite the assurance that he won't seek a third term, Sall's maneuvers have sparked suspicions of a carefully orchestrated charade, with whispers circulating that the puppet strings might be tightening around the chosen successor, Prime Minister Amadou Ba. This delay, a brazen attempt at elongating his political rule, has elicited a disconcerting air, with opposition parties launching legal battles against what appears to be the ominous overture of a leader inching towards autocratic aspirations, while past flirting with the idea, actually. As the capital, Dakar, becomes the unsettling stage for protests met with heavy-handed police intervention, the specter of authoritarianism looms, leaving Senegal citizens nervously awaiting the next scene in this ominous political drama, with Macky Sall as the main actor, producer, and director. We will be keeping an eye on him as he enters Second Take's Dictator Watch. Charlene Ruto, daughter of Kenya's President William Ruto, has managed to catapult herself into the social media limelight thanks to a well-intentioned but hilariously misguided attempt to motivate the Kenyan youth. In an interview that would make Marie Antoinette blush, Charlene urged the struggling youth to not be lazy and passionately pursue their dreams. One can almost hear the echoes of "let them eat cake" as she extends an invitation for the downtrodden to reach out and share their brilliant ideas with the ruling class. Clearly, in the kingdom of the Rutos, the well-paved road to success is just a phone call away. Social media platforms, particularly the appropriately named X, have become a battlefield of scathing tweets and demanding posts as Kenyans clamor for an apology from the president's offspring. It seems the masses are not too keen on receiving life advice from someone who likely couldn't locate the kitchen without a map of their estate. The frustration among the online rabble is palpable, as they accuse Charlene of being as out of touch as Joe Biden is with reality. Critics argue that her exhortations to the youth resemble telling a drowning person to swim harder without acknowledging the lack of lifebuoys in the turbulent economic waters. The youth, who are facing a job market more barren than the Nyeri Desert, are finding it hard to connect with Charlene's pearls of wisdom. Some even go so far as to claim that her silver spoon-fed perspective may have obscured her view of the struggles faced by the average Kenyan youngster. Critics, with a touch of sarcasm thicker than Nairobi traffic, suggest that perhaps Charlene should be invited to a reality check retreat where she can swap her chauffeur-driven car for a matatu and experience firsthand the joys of the morning rush hour. right, so in a shocking turn of events that left the diplomatic world scratching its head, Judge Julia Sebutinde, once proudly associated with Uganda, has been disowned like an embarrassing relative who insists on bringing up awkward dinner conversations. I'm that relative. Last month, Sebutinde committed the cardinal sin of voting against all the provisional measures ordered by the ICJ for Israel to undertake in a case brought by South Africa concerning the war in the Gaza Strip. One can almost hear the gasps of disbelief echoing through the hallowed halls of justice. Despite Uganda distancing itself faster than a cat avoiding water, the ICJ decided that Judge Sebutinde was just the person they needed to spice up their ranks. So on the 6th of February, she was elected as the vice president of the World Court. In a statement, the ICJ declared that Sebutinde would be serving a 3-year term. Meanwhile, Uganda's permanent representative to the UN, Adonia Ayebare, took to the international stage to express the nation's profound disappointment in Sebutinde's actions. In a statement reminiscent of a teenager distancing themselves from an otherwise socially awkward parent, Ayebare made it clear that Sebutinde's rulings at the ICJ did not represent Uganda's official stance on the situation in Palestine. But here's the thing. I once saw a Ugandan politician take back an ambulance after she lost an election and still go ahead to be appointed State Minister of Finance for Investment and Privatization. So there isn't much moral high ground when Museveni is involved. All I'm saying is, sure, one may not agree with the otherwise wayward judge, but make no mistake, Uganda's leadership is nothing to sing home about. Ask Bobby Wine.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Our perspective starts with youth activist William Minnie describing the late President Hage Geingob as a devoted patriot, a fervent advocate against apartheid, and an erudite academic. William also extended his condolences to the former First Lady Madam Monica Gengos, the first children, and the entire Geingob clan. He is followed by reflections from Zimbabwean-born naturalized Namibian creative Sandy Rudd, as well as United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, who also paid tribute to Namibia's late President Dr. Hage Geingob during the UN General Assembly 55th Plenary Meeting 78th session on Wednesday.
Upon the announcement of the passing of His Excellency the President yesterday morn, a profound resonance echoed within the hearts of all Namibian people. The revelation brought forth great shock and sorrow as the inconceivable became a stark reality. A sitting Namibian president hath transcended into the celestial abode. The departed leader, a man of dynamism, versatility, and visionary acumen, possessed an unparalleled intellectual prowess. He served as an international civil servant, a devoted patriot, a fervent advocate against apartheid, an erudite academic, and the principal architect of the Namibian Constitution. In representation of the youth, I tender my sincere condolences to the former First Lady, Madam Monica Gengos, the first children, and the entire Geingob lineage. May this bereavement not sow discord, but in accord with the desires of His late Excellency, unite us beneath the singular roof of Namibian solidarity. Thank you.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here to share my story of the President. It's a very personal story for me, and it's something I'll never forget, and I'll always remember the President with great affection. My name's Sandy Rudd, and I'm a producer, director, and I worked at the College of the Arts, and I was commissioned to do a major production at the Independence celebrations, the 25th year, 2015, when the president was celebrating his first independence celebrations as the president. And I did this massive production with over 1,500 participants. So we had the youngsters dancing, and then I had commissioned and made by the students of the College of the Arts life-size puppets, a bit like the puppets from the War Horse. These are beautiful working. You saw the puppets moving, and we made them like you make wire toys. I was influenced by the wire motor cars, and I had them made out of this plastic piping. And the College of the Arts and the art students there rose to the occasion and made 50 life-size animal puppets. 2 of the puppets they made, and there were 4 or 5 puppeteers working, so they could bow, they could kneel, so they were real animals working. 2 of the puppets I wanted to be part of the presentation were oryx, because on the coat of arms of Namibia there are 2 oryxes holding up the coat of arms, and I thought they are very central part of Namibia's independence. And part of the choreography of the production was to have the puppets go and bow at the dignitaries and be part of engaging the audience. And the president was so taken by their bowing that he spontaneously jumped off his seat and he ran to the edge of the seating, and he too then bowed at the oryx. And it was such a beautiful moment to see the president engaging in the story, engaging in what was happening. And of course, the puppeteers working those oryxes were completely thrilled with him bowing at them. So he was part of the production. And many people for days afterwards and weeks afterwards remembered that particular moment. It was very, very special. And then the second part of me being happy about this memory was when the president did a ride around the stadium in his beautiful Land Rover, and he was waving at everyone. And the 500 youth who were in the production spontaneously all ran into the auditorium, and he was so happy that he actually did the circuit 2 times, and he had 1,500 youth with their flags waving, and he was high-fiving them and clapping them, and he was just so happy to have the youth of Namibia celebrating this man's reign. And we were all very excited that day, and that's my memory of our president, and it's one that will stay with me and everyone who participated in that production. It was always him bowing and being so wonderful to the youth. So I'm happy to share my story with you. Thank you.
The tributes from his fellow African leaders hail him as an icon of liberation and a powerful voice for Africa and African unity. Excellencies, democracy, self-determination, and human rights for all animated the life and work of President Geingob. Today, these values are under attack. Around the world, international law is being flouted, human rights are being trampled, authoritarianism is on the rise, and inequality is rife. And as we pay tribute to the memory of President Geingob, let us commit to honoring the values that he stood for, by fighting racism, misogyny, and injustice, by standing up for human rights, and by working to build a more equal world in which no one is left behind. Excellencies, at this difficult time, I offer my solidarity and warmest wishes to the people of Namibia and President Geingob's family. I think particularly of his wife, Mrs. Monica Geingos, an advocate for youth inclusion and leadership, who has been a strong presence here at the United Nations over the years. and of Namibia's new president, Nangolo Mbumba, who now leads a grieving nation. The United Nations will continue its strong friendship with Namibia as we work to build a more equal world for all, a world of dignity and human rights.
We are all seeking connection to each other, to the world, to the spaces we exist in.
Poor sportsmanship right now from the lads.
You might be physically ready, your body is ready, but mentally.
Here's another chance, and it is a goal from Vindo Kahana.
Sy sê wie is er aan neertrekker, daai bal het my grond gevat. Ja, hy het grond gevat en is
But just enough next.
Running that mountain up. Okay, so we will be doing this for the mountain climber. More advanced, slightly advanced.
So is jou trolley reg? Want
I love it. I love it. So then
kickstart our countdown at number 5 with this one. Op Netwerk TV se Klets Kompas gesels ons nuus van 'n Maandag tot Donderdag. Ons kyk ook na die weer en meer. Stories wat jou raak en stories wat saak maak.
They've made a mistake in denying me bail, and they've made several other mistakes in many other cases.
The channels that teach us something new or reflect our expression. So it goes beyond switching to the right station. It's about choosing the experience that can adorn the present, dressing it with our tastes as we expand our preferences, because what we are actually connecting to is boundless, limitless human energy. And this is the spirit of NTV.
All right, it's time for us to get into the global take, coming in swinging with the kind of geopolitical prowess that can have us all re-evaluating world maps. US President Joe Biden showcased his unparalleled ability to traverse the labyrinth of international relations. Fresh off the heels of concerns regarding his cognitive fitness, President Biden, in a dazzling linguistic acrobatics routine, managed to make Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi the head of Mexico, at least in his head. Have a look.
As you know, initially, the president of Mexico, el-Sisi, did not want to open up the gate to allow humanitarian material to get in. I talked to him. I convinced him to open the gate. My memory is not good. My memory is fine. My memory, take a look at what I've done since I become president. None of you thought I could pass any of the things I got passed. How'd that happen? You know, I guess I just forgot what was going on.
Mr. President.
Now, listen. If Donald Trump, who once called Namibia Nambia, has been indicted 4 times, was found liable for sexual assault, oversees a company convicted of tax fraud, and essentially unleashed a mob in order to reverse election results, can get the benefit of the doubt, then I think I can do the same for Joe Biden, who has done nothing except act his age and sponsor a genocide. My take is that this was a deliberate move. Yes, a strategic play to keep other world leaders on their toes. It's called 4D diplomacy, where confusion is the ultimate weapon. But just to be sure, the State Department should hastily arrange a crash course for the president of heads of state. Bingo. Complete with flashcards featuring world leaders and their corresponding countries. These things can be confusing. For example, from the mustache alone, any head of state can mistake Mugabe for Hitler. That's our global take. Now, our TikTok of the week ahead of Valentine's Day comes from Mzansi's greatest family as they discuss their yearly plans.
Your mom is telling a big number.
Yeah. by September. Then I want to prepare an outing for her. I want to take her out, and it's not going to be in South Africa.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I want to plan an international trip for your mother, Linna. Yeah. Then listen. Guys, listen. Can I finish? Listen, guys. Listen. Listen, I just want to tell you guys that this year we're gonna do a lot of savings and a lot of sacrifices, because for us to be able to go to that trip, other things we're not gonna do them this year. Meaning we are going to cut going out, we are going to cut other nice things so that I can be able.
I hear you.
And I support you, love. Yeah, no, it's very direct.
I hear you with this thing. You're gonna cut most of the stuff, like going out, movies, and everything like that. And my father, are we included in this trip?
Yeah. Also, I'm also on the same page
sure.
as Kosi.
No, guys, it's for me and your mother.
And my father, why
do you also like to
sacrifice ourselves now? No movies.
So that we can say
And then Abudi, you're gonna help me, okay? You're gonna help us. You're gonna help us.
You're not included, Mama. It's not fair,
No, Mama, it's not fair. Why are we saving up with our savings so you and Daddy can go to a trip without us?
Your wife only.
Yeah.
Nothing quite like a family that's ready to sacrifice together. More Second Take after the break. Well, that has been our show. Of course, it feels like a vacuum in power has been left by Dr. Hage Gengob's passing. Nangolo Mbumba has taken the seat, but of course, he emphasizes he is not going to run for the election. So next week, Second Take, we're going to be focusing on the election field. Job Amopanda, does he have a manifesto that does not apply to SPCA? Panduleni Itula, is he going to be walking with his suit in more directions than the north and the coastal towns? Tumbo Nandi Ndaitwa, what does she have to offer? Is she the grandmother that we have all been waiting for? Cassia Sharpley, is she more than a model? And Ali Angola, does she have much to offer beyond what she hears in her dreams? My name is Ashwin Berry. See you next week for Second Take.